So many of us take our everyday activities for granted. We bend, we type, we run, we walk, we work hard, we play hard. Typically, most of us endure some form of pain while we participate in these types of activities, whether that be some type of chronic pain, an arthritic condition, or a sports-related type injury that causes minor muscle or joint pain. Now, most of us have probably taken some form of medication, used heat or ice on an injury, or have tried some form of therapeutic massage to try to relieve that pain, only to find out that meds or treatment wasn't very effective. We'd like to introduce you to Warp 10, helping improve the quality of life through the power of light. Warp 10 is an FDA-approved, safe, and effective medical device for home use, and, if used regularly, can help control your pain faster with less dependency on meds and other type treatments. Using technology supported by NASA and future space missions, Warp 10 is a lightweight, battery-operated, handheld device used for the treatment of chronic pain by emitting energy in the near-infrared spectrum for the temporary relief of minor muscle and joint pain, arthritis, and muscle spasm, relieving stiffness, promoting relaxation of muscle tissue, and to temporarily increase local blood circulation where applied. Warp 10 is easy to use, safe, and cool to the touch anywhere on your skin. Warp 10 was invented by Quantum Devices Incorporated, a company located in southwest Wisconsin. Quantum Devices is no stranger to lighting technology. Since 1989, Quantum's light technology has been helping NASA grow plants in outer space to help not only in providing oxygen, but also as a food source for astronauts on long manned space missions. Along the way, Quantum Devices also learned that its light technology could also be used in other medical applications, in which high-intensity light activates drugs, including those for cancer patients, killing bad cells once activated by its lighting technology. Clinical research with LED lighting is being conducted on cancer patients at several medical facilities throughout the world, with positive results. In 2004, the Federal Food and Drug Administration approved Quantum's Warp 10 for consumer use.
I'd say that it's better for you than what you're currently taking for pain relief, and that it won't hurt you.
Nobody likes to have chronic pain or arthritis get in the way of their daily activities. As an alternative to taking daily pain medications, a daily 80-second treatment of Warp 10 will help you control your pain, so you can enjoy what you like to do best without taking potential harmful pain medications. Quantum Devices' philosophy is dedicated to the principle that light provides the power for all life on Earth. Their core belief is that the quality, delivery, and control of light is essential to the wellness of the human race and our advancement into the future. Which is why we are pleased to offer the FDA-approved Warp 10 medical device as a viable alternative to the cost and complications associated with the overuse of non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs for persistent minor pain relief. For a better understanding of Quantum Devices Incorporated, its technology, and the research and science behind Warp 10, let's view a short documentary produced by NASA in 2004 to give you a better understanding of what Quantum Devices is all about.
Ron Ignatius believes in the power of light. In fact, his company's slogan is, "Improving the quality of life through the power of light." The company, Quantum Devices Incorporated, is located in Barneveld, Wisconsin. It should be no surprise that the company's core technology is, well, light. In the early 1990s, NASA was looking for a way to grow plants in space to provide an oxygen and food source for astronauts. Ignatius discovered that the wavelength required for plants was the same as the one in his LED device, and he posed this idea to the NASA researchers.
30-some people were laughing because it just couldn't be done. You know, the dogma was you needed white light and you needed a lot of energy. And had to be equivalent to the sun. And
One of those researchers, though, thought it might just work. With a Small Business Innovation Research, or SBIR, contract from Marshall Space Flight Center, Quantum Devices developed a technology that enabled plants to grow in space on at least 7 different NASA missions. Quantum's work with LEDs and NASA plants generated interest elsewhere.
that started to turn on the people who were working with a new cancer oncology called photodynamic therapy, because they had a need for a very high intensity light source to turn on their drug.
Working with a Canadian company, Quantum developed a special probe that could do just that, called SpectraLife. Enter Dr. Harry Whalen from the Medical College of Wisconsin. Dr. Whalen was doing cancer research on animals using photosensitive drug therapies. Since the LEDs stimulated plant growth, Ignatius thought they could also be used for human therapy and contacted Whalen. Quantum built an experimental probe which Whalen used successfully. And that led to something else. Because of the treatments they receive, many of Whalen's patients develop a condition called mucositis. Mucous membranes of the body, especially in the mouth, break down, making it difficult and at times impossible to eat or drink. Quantum and Whalen moved the light technology into a new direction and developed a device to treat mucositis. By daily exposing patients to brief doses of the light therapy, they can now prevent the mucositis from ever starting. Quantum received SBIR funding from the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, for yet another biomedical application from the original device developed for NASA. DARPA wanted a simple device that troops could use to self-heal wounds while in the field.
The people at DARPA saw what Harry was doing with the mucositis and thought if this was indeed a healing effect that they were seeing, that we should try and apply this to this condition and the laser eye injury.
The firm took their technology yet a step further and created Warp 10, a battery-operated handheld device. Currently, the units are being tested by a small group of special operations forces in the Middle East. Helping to solve energy problems is now on his radar. Yes, Ron Ignatius believes in the power of light and will continue to push its limits.
Originally developed under a contract for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, or DARPA, the pioneers of the NASA LED technology, the Warp 10 was originally designed to assist Special Armed Forces personnel in the Middle East with immediate first aid and care for minor injuries and pain, thereby improving endurance in combat. Its success in combat helped revolutionize Warp 10 and its amazing healing power using light. Mark, a building contractor and freelance carpenter, has effectively used Warp 10 in helping relieve some of his minor aches and pain that he has acquired as just part of doing his job.
You tend to get some joint pain in your elbows, your wrists, your fingers, those kinds of things, repetitive use of those kinds of tools. I've used, the over-the-counter things, the Icy Hot, the ibuprofen, the Advil, all those types of over-the-counter remedies, and had, limited success with it. Ibuprofen helps a little bit, but the Warp 10, I've found at the end of the day, when I have a lot of deep joint pain, if I use Warp 10 on my thumbs, joints, and my hands, that I get almost instantaneous relief. And if I use it in the morning again, then it seems to last, and gives me relief at least so I can get through the day. I don't think that kind of joint pain goes away, but it certainly gives me more relief than anything I've used over the counter.
Kevin, a Wisconsin dairy farmer, has successfully used Warp 10 treating his shoulder and back. As any farmer would attest to, repetition with daily chores is hard work and at times can be very painful.
Milking in a barn that we have that's cows are in tie stalls, there's a lot of repetitive motion. You have to lift the machine, take the machine off, and get the cows ready for milking, and I use it on my shoulder. I usually just, when I'd get done with work at the end of the day, that's when I'd just put it on my shoulder several times and had pretty good results. Through using it, I've seen a lot of different ways that it's been used, and I really think there is some potential there for use, and especially with all the problems with over-the-counter medications and stuff. I think it's a different way to go that, you know, possibly might help people.
The term minor pain is rapidly becoming an oxymoron as our aging population becomes more prone to arthritis and the muscle and joint pain that accompany the aging process. 298 million people live in the United States, and according to the American Pain Society, they estimate that 45% of the population seeks medical help for persistent pain at some time in their lives. Medical economists estimate that pain costs the United States some $100 billion every year, including 515 million workdays lost and over 40 million doctor visits. Patsy, a banking loan officer, has spent thousands of dollars helping control her rheumatoid arthritis over the years and has had very little success. Once she was introduced to Warp 10 a little over a year ago, the results she has seen have been fabulous, to the point where she is not taking medications that were causing her to get sick, and her arthritic conditions are now manageable.
I was trying probably 3 or 4 different medications, and I was getting so sick from them because they just ruin your stomach. And so when I found out about this light and got the light, I waited like about 2 months, and then I went off my medication. I went off the injections and went off my other medication. I only take an inflammatory for my arthritis right now, but I got rid of the other ones. And over a year and 3 months, I have not been on any medications for arthritis except my inflammatory. So I started using, we bought the light, started using it, and it helped unbelievable. And then I just, my shoulder and my wrist and just different areas, when I use the light, you know, it just helps unbelievable.
To break that down even further, the average individual with persistent muscle and joint pain can spend thousands of dollars each year on prescription and over-the-counter medications. John Swanson has been a pharmacist for over 25 years, and as a viable alternative to pain medications, he not only uses Warp 10 himself, but he has recommended it to several of his friends and customers who are looking for ways to treat inflammation associated with aches and pains.
It's more like taking ibuprofen without having to take it. So those people that have a lot of stomach problems with taking anti-inflammatories, it's really good for them because you don't have to take it internally. And then of course if you're on medicines that prohibit you from taking anti-inflammatory agents like ibuprofen or naproxen and some of those, you can take or use the light and it doesn't interfere with those medicines. You know, suggestion is people should try it, and if it doesn't work for them, fine. If it does work for them, all the better, because it's an amazing tool.
Don't be fooled by other LED devices on the market that claim to have similar benefits, as these units do not use the same technology as the Warp 10 and will not produce equivalent results.
The trouble is that the device looks so simple on the surface that anybody who's got a soldering iron and has a Radio Shack close by can run over, pick up some LEDs and say, I'm in the business. The reality is that the work we did early on with NASA made us very much aware of the fact that we had to have the right amount of photons, the right amount of photon flux to be precise. We had to essentially reproduce the sun inside the growth chambers. So the cheapies that are out there, we've seen people have one LED inside of a pen-type package, okay, and tell people they're going to do the same thing we do. But if real close perusal of the competition's literature, you'll usually find one of our papers or one of our names or something, or NASA, justifying their product.
In addition to providing localized pain relief,
biologists have discovered that cells exposed to near-infrared light from LEDs grow 150 to 200% faster with the intensity of light only provided by the Warp 10 Heals technology. So, to help set the record straight, Quantum Devices is the company that invented the high-intensity, solid-state lighting systems for NASA that have become the gold standards for photobiomodulation research, photodynamic cancer therapy, and agriculture research. Let's view another short documentary showcasing how Quantum Devices' LED lighting technology is working in a medical application.
16-year-old Eric Tidd may look like a typical teenager, hanging out and doing homework with his friends. But since 1996, he has been fighting for his life. Eric has Hodgkin's disease, cancer of the lymphatic system. Twice the cancer has appeared, and twice he has fought it into remission. Finally, it looked like he had it beat.
After I got sick both times, I pretty much thought that I wasn't going to get sick anymore.
But after 15 months in remission, the cancer is back, a third time.
I thought there's a real good possibility here I'm not going to have a son. And that just tore me up.
Eric is set to undergo the most intense round of chemotherapy he's ever had. While the chemo causes a host of painful side effects, his doctor is trying to minimize one side effect with this.
Hey Eric, you ready?
A special near-infrared light. During his cancer treatment, Eric is bathed in its rays. This healing light is the culmination of years of research and testing. It grew from a solution to a problem far removed from Eric's cancer treatment, a problem in space.
Houston, go for docking. We're about a minute and a half from LOS.
Since the launching of Skylab in 1973, NASA has looked for an efficient way to grow plants in space. As missions extend into months and years, a renewable food supply will be critical to the astronaut's survival. The solution would come from this man, Ron Ignatius. He has a passion for light and has been tinkering with it for years.
Light and solar energy are the two things I think about probably the most of anything.
His company, Quantum Devices, makes high-tech lights. If LEDs can replace sunlight for growing plants, could they have other properties that make them useful? That question intrigued Dr. Harry Whalen, the doctor who is treating Eric Tidd at the Children's Hospital of Wisconsin. He has been experimenting with the healing properties of light for the last 7 years.
Every cell in the body has red light sensitive chemicals called cytochromes. These chemicals are present in energy compartments in every cell called mitochondria. When you stimulate these chemicals with the correct wavelength and power of light, it causes the cells to have extra energy to grow, regenerate, and heal. We have been studying the use of near-infrared light from the NASA LEDs to promote healing of various types of things: diabetic ulcers, serious burns, crush injuries, and other types of wounds.
Dr. Whalen hopes the LEDs will help Eric in his latest fight against Hodgkin's disease. In the past, Eric has been severely affected by the side effects of chemotherapy. This time, the chemo has to be intense enough to kill all the cells in his bone marrow, a last resort measure, so his body will accept a bone marrow transplant from his sister. Doctors have warned Eric and his family that he is almost certain to develop a painful side effect called mucositis, mouth and throat ulcers that can prevent him from eating or drinking.
Everything from your mouth down loses its first layer of skin, and second. And we were told that as the skin sheds, your mouth will become sore.
Hello. How are you doing?
I'm pretty good.
Are you all set for this?
Yeah.
Okay. Any problems with the treatments?
No, not really.
Why don't you go ahead and put the goggles on and we'll get started.
Dr. Whalen will treat Eric with LEDs for just over a minute each day. Treatment starts the day of his bone marrow transplant and lasts for 3 weeks after.
Okay, finished.
This LED treatment is still in clinical trials, but it should help Eric make a faster recovery and avoid some of the most painful side effects of his treatment.
All set?
Yeah.
How'd that go?
That was cool.
All right, good.
NASA is also funding another of Dr. Whalen's projects, an LED probe to treat brain tumors. The treatment is called photodynamic therapy and uses a cell-killing drug that's activated by light.
You inject the drug into the bloodstream and it goes throughout the entire patient's body, but it builds up in cancer cells because cancer cells are greedy and take up more than their share in an attempt to grow.
The LED probe then activates the light-sensitive drug in the brain, killing all the cancer cells. The LED's longer near-infrared wavelength penetrates brain tissue far deeper than the shorter wavelength of lasers. The solid-state LED probe is also more reliable than a laser and generates no tissue-damaging heat. If LEDs prove useful in treating patients here on Earth, could they also have a medical use on a spacecraft where wounds take longer to heal in the artificial atmosphere? Testing this in space is difficult, where missions are often short and few astronauts suffer from cuts and wounds. But scientists have found another place to do the testing that works equally well. The U.S. Navy is testing NASA's LED lights on this submarine, the USS Salt Lake City. On a 6-month mission beginning in May 2000, crew members with skin wounds were given regular exposure to LED light. Early results show wounds are healing much quicker. Eric Tidd has also had good results from the LED therapy in controlling the potential side effects of his chemotherapy. 2.5 months after his bone marrow transplant, Eric is back in school, a month ahead of schedule. For that, he gives credit to Dr. Whalen and his LED treatment.
The doctors were so set on me having the mucositis because they've done over 500 bone marrow transplants before, and they can almost tell you the exact day when you're going to get it. And basically all patients do get it. It was just really, really amazing that I didn't. And I'm sure that's probably why I'm so healthy today.
Ron Ignatius is proud of the way his LED light is proving its potential.
Now we're driving medical science and plant science because we need to go on long-term missions. You'll see in the space station, they will be growing plants, they will be doing gene research, they will be looking at medical problems that are all applicable back here on Earth.
The LED light, another way that meeting challenges in space is generating solutions for people here on Earth.
Using just 80-second treatments per day of exposure to light from Warp 10 will help you get back in the game. Monty, a retired Wisconsin school administrator, is not only an avid sportsman and outdoor enthusiast, he most certainly enjoys his time playing golf with his friends at least 2 to 3 times each week. Like most retired individuals Monty's age, minor aches and pains with certain muscles and joints are common. Despite using over-the-counter pharmaceutical medications to help in relieving pain, Monty found by using Warp 10 on a regular basis was the answer to him being pain-free.
Due to my activities, I do have some fatigue in my legs. I've had strength problems with my wrist and some pain in my right wrist, probably from playing too much golf and doing shovel work and rake work and things that are going to stress that out. The Warp 10 was something that I used on my right wrist, which was giving me a lot of problem last year during the golf season. I was losing my strength in it and I was having some pain with it. I used the Warp 10 twice a day for a couple of weeks and my pain ceased and my strength was starting to come back.
William Johnson, a naturopathic and chiropractic doctor who has been helping people control their pain for over 35 years, speaks highly of Warp 10 as he not only uses the device himself, he has treated clients in his office with great success, and most certainly he recommends Warp 10 to his patients.
People come to me because they have pain, and they don't come to me because they have crooked back like they go to an orthodontist because they have crooked teeth. They come because they have pain. And so in relieving pain, you use whatever modalities you can, and in any inflammatory condition, which we're dealing with primarily when there's pain, you have heat, swelling, and pain. That's what inflammation is. So I found that the Warp 10 has been a great modality for me to use. It's portable, it's handheld, it's inexpensive. It's the most inexpensive piece of physical therapy I've ever used, and it's made in the United States. So if you need it repaired, you get it repaired in the United States. So that's a big important point. I've been involved with using this for the last 6 months, and I've gotten probably a dozen other chiropractors involved in using this.
Bruce, a successful artist his entire life, has endured wrist pain as part of his profession. He has used Warp 10 for over 2 years on a daily basis and absolutely loves the product. Bruce uses 2 80-second doses every day and finds that regularity in using the product has greatly helped him control the pain in his wrists.
The scratch board and the colored pencil are both very labor-intensive, highly detailed, repetitive motions. And I want to avoid carpal tunnel, and occasionally when I get up in the morning, it takes a while to get things in motion. For the wrists, I do either side of the wrist to alleviate the aches and pains. And I just turned 66, but aging doesn't necessarily have to be painful.
To order your Warp 10, simply go to our secured, informative website at www.warplighththerapy.com. Warp 10 is easy to use and operate. Your Warp 10 comes with a charger and 16 rechargeable AA batteries that can be recharged over 1,000 times. For what you pay yearly for over-the-counter or prescription pain medications, you'll find that your Warp 10 medical device will cost you only pennies per dose and will last for years with proper care and handling.
It's buyer beware time.
It's the most inexpensive piece of physical therapy I've ever used, and it's made in the United States.
Everybody that I've talked to that I recommend it to, it's been a godsend.
I love it. No, I won't give it up.
We're positive you'll be pleased with the results you'll find with your Warp 10 purchase. We even offer a money-back guarantee if you're not completely satisfied. As an alternative to medications for pain relief, you'll find Warp 10 to be a viable choice to help aid chronic and arthritic pain relief. No different than an exercise or a diet plan, daily consistent use of Warp 10 will provide best results. But we are certain that daily doses of Warp 10 light therapy will help you relieve that stiffness and soreness that can sometimes make your day miserable. We encourage you to visit our comprehensive website for a better understanding of Warp 10 and for ordering information. By looking at the costs associated with purchasing medications, the investment you make in a Warp Light Therapy Warp 10 is a smart and logical choice when looking at the costs and complications with some over-the-counter and prescription medications. Your Warp 10 will last a lifetime with proper care and handling and will provide a safe and effective alternative method to help you control muscle and joint pain and stiffness that can sometimes help prevent you from enjoying your day. When looking at the cost per 80-second dose and with rechargeable batteries that are included with your purchase, you'll receive 100,000 doses before you ever have to buy rechargeable batteries again. Order your Warp 10 today by calling one of our friendly customer service representatives, or you can order by visiting our secured website at www.warplighththerapy.com. For your convenience, you can take advantage of our 3 easy monthly pay plan. We accept Visa, MasterCard, and Discover Card. The FDA-cleared Warp 10 is truly a healthy investment for you and your family. We thank you for your interest in Warp 10. Please visit us on the web for additional information.